So I'm not really sure what Dr. West is up to or why he feels the need to be hopping around like this.
I have an idea.
I think we all have an idea, but ultimately his decision today, this afternoon, to go from what was initially the People's Party to the Green Party and now independent, all in the span of a few months, in addition to what we made very clear was a very consequential hire of Peter Dow as his campaign manager, and we'll obviously get to that in a minute.
You skipped over the most important thing.
What did I do?
About Dr. Cornel West.
What's that?
Is what happened Monday night.
Oh, I didn't. Well, let's play the video first, then we'll get to that. Something very big happened. It's huge, really incredible, tremendous thing really happened. Okay. So here is Dr. West's announcement this afternoon that he is running independent.
We need you to be part and parcel of wrestling with this corporate duopoly, this two-party system that impedes, it gets in the way of the unleashing of the kind of policies of abolishing poverty and homelessness, of dealing with working wages, cutting back on militarism, and most importantly, trying to ensure that the best of who we are as a people can be more manifest, can be more concrete, because the crisis is real and these catastrophes are bombarding us. Please come join us.
First of all, I love his sort of shaft-like logo for anyone who has been to his website. It really has that sort of almost Quentin Tarantino vibe to it. But I think personally that his idea to do this is smart. I think it's not a good idea to have to jump through hoops for the party, any party, and then have to wait until whenever they have their convention to be an official candidate. I think it's extremely limiting. And I don't know. What do you think, Heath?
Of his switch?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was a terrible move. I don't think he's going to have nearly the competitive power now. The Greens had, a much easier path to ballot access in most states than he's going to have now, where he's going to have to start from scratch. He started on the People's Party, then he was convinced to move to the Greens because of the ballot access issue. It seems to me like he's been led along here. The sense I got early on was that Nick Brana wanted to recruit a candidate into the race. He found Cornel. Cornel agreed to do it. And part of why I thought originally that Cornel might have agreed to run on the People's Party ticket is because he could sort of run an advocacy campaign, an issues campaign, a message campaign, knowing that he wasn't going to be on many ballots because the People's Party just didn't have it together to get on many ballots. But he'll be able to, go out there and spread his message for whatever reason, right? I'm not saying there was some nefarious motive. I don't think he has a book he's trying to peddle or anything like that. But I just think that was kind of where his head was at. Then Chris Hedges gets in his ear. Jill Stein gets in his ear. Shama Sawant, some real deal, radical activists who actually mean business. And they said, listen, Cornel, if you're running, you should really run with the Greens because they have access on all these state ballots and you'll be a much more formidable threat. And at that point, what's he going to say? No? Then he kind of gives away that he never intended to be much of a threat to begin with. So he's like, all right, I'll do it. I suspected when RFK switched to independent, I said Cornel could be ready to call it quits because with both RFK and Cornel on third-party ballot lines, it was pretty much impossible for Biden to win. How could Biden possibly win? With RFK dragging him down, 10 to 15 points and Cornel dragging him down 5 to 10. It's impossible. The math was not there for Joe Biden with both RFK and Cornel West in the race. And the question at the end of the day, does Cornel West want to light up his life's work, all his life's relationships? Don't forget, he's a professional class guy. He's a professor. When he went on Anderson Cooper and Anderson Cooper made those obscene comparisons about, how, well, you can't compare the Grozny bombing to the Iraq bomb. Just Cornell's sitting there kind of taking it because Cooper tells Cornel West, I love you. When Cornel went on CNN during the George Floyd protest, he brought Anderson Cooper to tears. He is well loved in these very establishment circles? And does he have it in him to burn those people the way a Green Party run would if he ruined the election for Joe Biden? It was always doubtful whether he actually had it in him to do it. I was thrilled that he seemed serious. I figured, well, if he's running with the Greens, I guess he's serious about it. But you started seeing some signs that he wasn't. You started seeing some signs that he just didn't have it in him to stick it out in a way that posed the maximum threat. And look, I don't want to toot my own horn prematurely because I don't know that this is what happened. But I suspect that when RFK switched, he realized, okay, now I am actually going to cause Biden the race if I stay in. And that's
I don't think that's at all. I really don't think that's at all why. I actually think that he realized that, one, it's actually right now the Green Party for 24, I believe they only are on 18 ballots. They still have a ton more that they have to go. Yeah. But more importantly than that, it's actually easier to get on ballots as an independent than it is through a party. So it's actually easier to do it that way. And I think that he
But how? Because that doesn't seem to be what I'm hearing. I mean, I've heard that, but I've also heard the case made the other way. That, like, it's going to cost him $2 million to get on the California ballot now because you have to get, hundreds of thousands of signatures as an independent to get on the ballot in that state alone. And then if you look at all these other states, I mean, there's, certain states it's 5,000, certain states it's 10,000, but you need a ground game up and running in all of these states. Like, there's no technical shortcut to getting ballot access. You need a team that's funded that can go and pound the pavement and get the signatures. And a lot of times you need double the amount of signatures they say you need because they throw half the signatures out, right? Because, you didn't dot your I across your T. So I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I've heard it said both ways. I've heard people make the case that it's easier to get ballot access as an independent than as a Green. I just haven't heard anything that I quite buy, unless you have something to tell me. I'm open to learning, obviously.
No, I think that the problem is that if you're beholden to the party and you are technically not even their nominee yet, it really makes it hard to sort of be who you need to be to get a general election. It's like you're kind of running two different campaigns, but you can't even run your primary. Like, you're not, I don't know, I kind of get it. Because now you're going directly to the people and you're not jumping through the hoops of the Greens.
I just don't buy that there was a really going to be a competitive Green Party primary.
But I don't buy it.
Maybe not.
But here's one thing that I would say, and this is the one thing I will say in defense of Dr. West. We saw this happen back in 2020, and I don't care what anyone says. There is no question that Jesse Ventura gave very strong intention as well as getting consideration to run on the Green Party ticket in 2020 for president. And we all know that something happened behind the scenes, that somehow Howie Hawkins ended up becoming the person that ended up running on that ticket. There's been belief, as I have believed for a long time, that the Green Party in some ways is not what it says that it is. At least it hasn't been since Ralph Nader has been blamed for causing Al Gore to lose in 2000. We all know that's bullshit. But the bottom line is the Green Party has been seen as somewhat of a punching bag, an excuse, if you will, in terms of what the party could actually be if it really wanted to be versus what it actually is and what it has been for a very long time. And so the idea, if you've ever been around that group and they're just being a niche party to begin with, the fact that they are in some ways even worse than the Libertarian Party, in that if you're not pure across the board, you are not accepted. And we are content to basically be
this is interesting.
A do nothing. Jill was saying
this apparently Jill Stein doing
she
an
was
interview.
just on Sabby Sabs. I watched the whole interview, and so people in the chat who are referencing that, I did watch that interview. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. Yeah.
I do think that there is some truth to that, because the one thing that we have seen over time, and you have obviously seen being in New York, is that electability is a real thing. And just because you're running for office does not mean that you're entitled to support. There are varying degrees of what that actually means. And the idea that Dr. West was going to have to carry the burden of all of these
other
candidates. And now all of a sudden we're going to get in, they're going to want the money and the infrastructure and all that.
He just wants to run when he's running. I don't know. And I have a little bit more insight.
But honestly, if it is an issues-based campaign and nothing more, hell, I'll take that coming from him than I will from most other people. If he ran a barnstorming campaign through every major college campus throughout the United States over the next 13, 14 months, I'll take that any day, because at least that's going. You've even said on your show, and Russell has said as well, there is not one election that's solving this problem.
No.
The only thing that's going to solve it is a massive coalition of working people through the labor movement that are going to coalesce together and recognize that this is a class war and nothing more. And until it becomes that clear to everybody, we are going to continue to fail in every way, shape, or form. I hope that Dr. West is on that mission. At least I know that's what.
Well, if you would let me tell the good story,
so
then I would be able to get to that. Okay, so this is my good story. You ready?
This is from Monday, right?
This is from Monday night. This happened. So I'm sitting in my room and I get a call, and it's a 617 area code, and I don't really know I didn't know who it was, and I normally don't answer, right? But it is, but I don't know anybody there, and I'm just like, whatever. So I answered it, which I normally don't, and it was Dr. West. And it was just very surreal. It brought me back to the first time when Nina Turner called me and I lost my shit. It was almost like I won some game show thing. So Dr. West called me on Monday night, and it was really weird. I think I did my best to not be stupid again, like I was the first time I met him. Everyone who watches us knows that I met him. I had to remind him of that. Fortunately, he did not remember, because I was like an idiot. There's something about him. But anyway, so I was able to carry on and maintain a fairly decent conversation, albeit giddy. And I just have a different vibe about it. I just really do, just from talking to him. He's the only person that I have seen ever running who has written and speaks about the mission the way that I feel about the mission. He is the only person that I've seen put out there the reason about why he's running and why it's important. And I've not seen a single other candidate other than me that has presented it in that way. And so he speaks to my heart, for sure. He speaks to my heart. And honestly, and he knows he's not winning. He knows that. But it's about a movement, and it's about if he can do, and I spoke with him a little bit about my idea and my concept and how we ran our campaign, which is doing a service-based campaign. And the idea is you barnstorm college campuses and you recruit service volunteers and you have them out in the communities doing community service, and you start spreading that. So we spoke about that. And I don't know. I mean, first of all, he is not scared at all of pissing off the Democrats. Not even a little. Not even a little. I got to tell you, that man, he's got cojones. He's got Thurgood Marshall cojones.
The one thing I will say that I think is very important to note here that people, I think, are neglecting. Now, you could be right. Maybe he really, at the last minute, will jump out. Who knows? But as long as he's in.
He ain't endorsing Joe.
So if you just look at his website, the key word on his site now, his independent site, is the word justice. And where this word,
and I quote, justice is what love looks like in public. Thank you, Dr. West.
Yeah. So where I think that this actually becomes a big deal is he really generating a significant amount of groundswell support within the Black community? If he is doing that, then the Democratic Party definitely has a problem. I think they have a problem to begin with, but this is definitely one of those circumstances where they cannot lose any ground whatsoever with that particular demographic, and he speaks.
Well, they already are.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.